for Islam. I don't know if it's, there's probably periods that have been close to, but the real crisis today is the lack of scholars. I mean, that's where the real crisis is. And there's so many Shaykh Googles out there. There's so many muftis of the internet. And it's really creating immense confusion in our community. On top of that, you have an anti-phobic industry, Islamophobic industry out there that is heavily funded. They have their own scholars. And if I wanted to write a book painting Islam as the darkest religion in human history, I could do it. Anybody that has access to, our library, the pre-modern library, can pull out things. But they were never normative Islam. You have crazy opinions in every religion. They weren't normative. I mean, you have, opinions in the Jewish tradition that a child can be married at the age of 3 and penetrated. But that's not normative rabbinical Judaism, but that opinion exists. So if you put that out and say, oh, look, the Jews, they permit pedophilia, that's crazy. They don't permit that. But you can find those opinions. And Christians that are anti-Jewish, they pull out this stuff from the Talmud and they say, look how evil Judaism is, right? You could do the same thing with Islam, and the truth be told, you could do it with Christianity as well. Because there's a lot of crazy opinions in Christianity as well. But what is normative Islam? And then, when is normative Islam overridden? Because we have, for instance, istihsan, according to the Malikis and the Hanafis. We have istihsan, we have masalih and mursalat, we have usuli tools that I'm going to talk about in the next lecture. We have usuli tools that enable us to override things that would be unjust if they were implemented. For instance, ridda right now, you can't implement apostasy laws in the Muslim world. Ibn Humam, the great Shafi'i scholar, said that when ignorance is widespread, you suspend the had punishments altogether. There's no had punishments because people are ignorant. You have to educate people. You can't cut off hands when you have the type of poverty and injustice on this planet that we have. You can't cut people's hands off for stealing. So, Sharia is rational, it's merciful, it's generous, it's al-Hanafiyatu Samha. And the Prophet ﷺ, he was forgiving. And if you look at all the Sahaba, I'll give you one example. Sayyidina Umar caught a thief. And the thief said, it's the first time. He said, you're a liar because Allah will always veil you the first time. And then he said, Asarakta qul la. He said, did you steal? Say no. And this is Amir al-Mu'mineen, Umar ibn al-Khattab. He said, did you steal? Say no. And he said no. And he said, get out of here. Innaka dharif. You're an intelligent. That's dharafat al-faqih. The faqih got him out of this. He said, did you steal? And then he said, say no. So what does he do? He didn't say, yes, I stole, and no. He said no. So he got the point. And so Omar, what Abu Bakr al-Tartushi said, Omar understood that his intelligence would prevent him from doing it a second time. This is leniency. This is leniency in our tradition. And that was the tradition. But, women, the Prophet said, لا يكرمهن إلا كريم ولا يهينهن إلا لئيم. No one honors women except honorable men, and no one degrades them except contemptible men. And so what's being done to these women is contemptible. And these are contemptible people. They're degrading these women. These women have their human dignity. When did you make them slaves? When their mothers gave them birth as free people. Anyway.